The number of trans athletes that make up a general power balance for that given sport is incredibly non-demonstrable. Like, what you need to be looking at is exactly what they're providing to the sport.
Providing to the sport? What are you talking about?
We have seen it, we've documented it, and any individual who's been in a situation as a parent who has engaged with a child to this degree recognizes.
You're insane, bro. You're insane.
The first question is kind of just why we're out here protesting, where we are, what sparked it, stuff like that.
Absolutely. So we're at Seattle Children's Hospital out on Sandpoint Way. We got news approximately 2 days ago that the executive leadership team had suspended gender-affirming care for anyone under the age of 19. And that included anyone who was ready for an appointment for the last 2 to 3 years, who got a day of call that they were going to be losing their appointments and their ability to receive gender-affirming care. And we did not receive notice from the team. There was no communication. And we heard about it, the gender clinic heard about it through a stranger article the day that the orders were released. Of course, we had wide-scale outrage through the organization, and we're out here today making sure that they hear our voice.
And what kind of gender-affirming care has been suspended? You said everybody under the age of 19. Like, what types of things are these kids losing access to?
From what we understand, it's anything from voice therapy to gender-affirming surgeries. Primarily, surgeries were taken off the table.
And how does this affect children when they don't have access to surgeries?
I mean, it changes everything. For anyone receiving gender-affirming care, the cutoffs for age and hormones are vital.
So I'm a little confused why he's protesting so aggressively for kids to get gender-affirming care. I didn't even know this was legal. I honestly thought this was illegal to do these type of surgeries on a child. And I'm not trying to be too controversial, but let's be honest right quick. Why does a child need these type of surgeries? It seems a little sick to me, especially considering you don't even start puberty until you're 13 years old, 12, 13, 14 years old. So if you're doing any type of gender surgery on a kid before that age, unless it's a life or death surgery, it just seems kind of weird to me. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy this video. Apparently, the pro-trans activist is voicing his beliefs and why he's protesting, so this should be good.
Individuals who are experiencing any amount of gender dysphoria need to make sure that in their youth, steps are being taken by responsible adults in their lives, and their concerns are being heard at the age that they are, so they're receiving appropriate treatment so that as they continue through life, they are not becoming significantly more dysphoric, and they are not at a higher risk for mental illnesses, for social discrimination, as the gender that they do not ascribe to is beginning to show physically in their body. It's incredibly important to maintain that an individual has a right to engage in life in a way that they see fit, akin to their identity, and that this care is necessary to prevent any further comorbidities from developing, especially in the mental health field.
And I see you're later. You work at the hospital?
Yes, I do work at the hospital.
What, if you had to guess, what percentage do you think of the kids at the Seattle Children's Hospital are trans?
Oh, I wouldn't know. I would be unqualified to say. I know that the gender clinic has consistent work.
But there are some. They're a good amount.
Absolutely. Yes. This is one of the only clinics in the 4-state area that we cover that provides this manner of care. So it's devastating in these states for this care to be suspended at this particular organization.
And suicidal ideation in kids aged 10 to 14 is extremely high on their own, even if they're not trans. I think it's the second leading cause of death in kids aged 10 to 4. What kind of age demographic? That's according to the CDC. What age demographics is this issue affecting the most, do you think?
I mean, primarily it's anyone under the age of 19. I think that these issues are prevalent from birth throughout an individual's life.
See, here's the problem. Here's where you lost me. You said under the age of 19. If someone is doing these surgeries at 18, I'm like, okay, you're an adult. You're an adult. You can make your own decisions. I think you can at 18. Even that to me is still really young because you can't even vote when you're 18. But I'm like, yeah, technically you're an adult. Whatever. But you said under the age of 19. I think you need to be put on some type of list. And I'm not trying to be funny. I think you need to be put on a list. What do you mean under the age of 19? Do you realize every child in America is under the age of 19? So you want what, 2-year-olds? You didn't say 5 to 19. You didn't say 10 to 19. You said under the age of 19. That's not acceptable to me. You need to be put on a watch list. That's crazy.
As they continue to move through the difficulties of engaging in a trans identity. And I mean, the care being suspended is affecting us across the board in a wide swath.
And one thing that really pisses me off is Trump supporters who say things like, those kids, they don't know who they don't know their identity, they don't know who they are, they couldn't, that's a decision for an adult to make. Their brain's not for whatever. What would you say to those people, specifically related to like kids being able to understand their trans identity? Like, are children able to understand? Do they express it in your experience?
Absolutely, and not only in my experience. I would tell them to get on board with the last 30 years of developmental psychology as it is written in books by professionals who have engaged in this study for the last 3 decades. We have seen it, we've documented it, and any individual who's been in a situation as a parent who has engaged with a child to this degree recognizes the dysphoria.
You're insane, bro. You're insane. I don't care if it was written in a book, and I'm not saying this because I'm anti-book. I'm getting a master's degree in electronics engineering right now. I'm a researcher. But I don't care about none of that. You're talking about baby. You said under the age of 19. I didn't make that up. You said that. I don't care if it's written in a book. What you're saying is insane. Kids can barely even tie their shoes. Some kids don't even know their ABCs. They don't even know how to read a map, and you're talking about gender dysphoria, bruh, let's be for real. And I'm a little sick if my voice is gone, but let's be for real. You sound insane right now.
Recognizes the signs and engages with them in conversation. It's not something that we can necessarily turn a blind eye to when they're engaged in that conversation every minute of every day, and they're showing entirely in their whole body signs that they would like to be something else than they are. And this care is necessary to ensure that that is confirmed and cemented in their life.
For somebody who this issue isn't important to, for somebody who doesn't have trans relatives or specifically trans youth relatives or friends who have children that are trans, and they don't understand this, particularly I don't know, probably people in the South. I don't know, people who just
Texas.
People who just don't get it. What would you say, like, what are the signs?
What are the signs?
Yeah.
First and foremost, just to speak to, if you don't understand it, first and foremost is exposure. The one thing that we capitalize here in America is isolationism, and the one thing that they lack 9 times out of 10 is the exposure to this community. The one thing you need to do is experience someone who goes through these difficulties so that you can widen your perspective of what a human is capable of and what potential looks like across our spectrum in humanity. But the signs are going to be heightened aggression, a significant amount of distrust and disengagement in who they're supposed to be along the lines of who their parentage and greater community is telling them that they're supposed to be engaging with. The signs are going to be a significant amount of questioning, a significant amount of general dysphoria, of engaging with peers generally incorrectly, and a number of other touch points that I'd probably re-engage with along clinical lines. I wouldn't want to misspeak beyond that if I'm honest.
No, totally, yeah.
And I'm gonna be completely honest, bro. I don't even really know what he's fighting for at this point. Everything I've heard so far has just been nonsense. Why did you take off work to come and protest this? This is insane. This is insane. You need to go back to work, clock in, and apologize to your manager for taking off to protest like this. You really do. Because I would even understand if, you were talking about young adults doing this. I would understand. I will say, it's still questionable, but at least it's your moral compass. But you're talking about kids, 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds. I low-key need to report this video. You might need to be on a list because this is not okay.
I guess I just have one more question that I actually just thought of because it was just running through my head. But so there was the executive order banning the surgeries and gender-affirming care for people under the age of 19. There was also just another one the other day related to like trans athletes. And what is your What would you say to that if you don't have anything and you don't want to like misspeak? Totally, you don't have to, but just it's like relevant and important, I think. What would you say about that?
I think the most relevant point is particularly the statistical amount that is being covered as far as trans athletes are concerned. I think with the available pool of athletes you have to choose from in any given professional sport, the number of trans athletes that make up a general power balance for that given sport is incredibly non-demonstrable. Like what you need to be looking at is exactly what they're providing to the sport, and if it necessarily affects your given experience as a viewer, as a judge.
Providing to the sport? What are you talking about? You want a trans athlete to just start dunking on a dunking on a high school girls team? Like, what are you talking about? You're gonna have a 6'5", a 6'5", buff 18-year-old just doing windmills at a girls' JV basketball practice. What are you talking about to contribute to the sport? I'm not gonna lie. They will probably contribute a lot of points and buckets to the sport of basketball or to the sport, but is that really what we want? Is that really what we want to see happen?
As an individual engaging in that sport to begin with, I think if you're trying to pinpoint less than a single % of a given athletic population, you kind of have to rest on the idea that this is particularly targeted. That it's an idea that's so uncomfortable that they're willing to disengage with any statistical reality, and they're willing to move forward with blanket legislation that bans people from engaging in what they love.
Totally.
And I think that is...
I mean, hey, what do you mean what you love? What do you mean what you love? What are you talking about? I mean, I'm going to be honest. If I was averaging 30 points a game and I was just dunking on people that were a different gender, I guess, how could you love it? You're the best on the team. You might be the best in the state. But that don't make it right. I'm sorry. Anyways, I'm in the video here. It's LFR JoJo, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.